When it comes to surf fishing, one of the things that we always talk about is rigs. And what do you do with them? How do you get them? How do you make them? Well, in our world, we have a bunch of small businesses that actually do stuff like that. And we're going to talk about that today, right here on Finding Demo Surf Fishing. The rig game is something that is a lot of fun to play with. There are so many different types of rigs you can get your hands on, whether you're down at a tackle shop or if you just Googled fishing rigs online, you're going to come up with a ton. Well, I got lucky in a fishing tournament not too long ago and won a gift certificate to a company named Rippin Reaper Fishing. Well, this turned into something even better is because I finally got to talk to the owner, and it turned into something even better as time went on. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tony Pendley is joining us on the show today. It's going to be awesome. I'm so excited to hear about all this good stuff. So, Tony, Rippin Reaper Fishing?
Yes. Excuse me.
So, how'd you get into this, man? Tell me about yourself. Let's start there. Tell me about you.
Okay. Well, I grew up in a little town in Indiana, Rochester, Indiana, up north. And 3 days after graduation, I was in the Army. I spent 6 years there. Took a short break, went to college, got my degree, and found out I liked the Army and went back in. So ended up retired 24 years. And then from there, I was actually stationed 3 years over in Mobile and as a recruiter. And when I retired, ended up coming back to Fairhope, I'm sorry. Came back to Fairhope, spent 3 years fishing and playing. And having been stationed in Salt Lake City, Fort Douglas there, my son, he got married and stayed. So I came back here to Utah and spent 7 years working for the VA. And then when I called it all retirement, just came back to Fairhope. And I was there about a month and getting back into the fishing there and salt fishing or surf fishing and seeing a post come across Facebook from a company called Rippin Reaper Fishing. Mr. Justin Downey over in Mobile had posted a note that he was going out of business, and this was his last popping corks that we'd see. And I thought about that for a few days, sent him an email, and that turned into a conversation. And next thing you know, I was the owner.
Damn.
And that was back in August of 19. And then we went, I got the company, all his supplies, the website. We built the website, but I got all his Facebook information and just took and ran with it from there. And so we're in a pop and cork and rig fishing business now.
Dude, that's awesome. Always fun talking to a fellow vet too. That's one of my favorite things that I've found in our little fishing communities. There are a ton of us, little veterans hiding. We just pop up out of nowhere.
Yes. Every time you turn a corner, it seems like there's one of us there.
Yeah, it's good stuff, man. It's always fun. It really is. So a lot of time in the Army, definitely moved in with the VA, good stuff right there. And then you acquired the company, and you've been doing great things. And I have my order. I've had my order for a little over a month now, and I have managed to fish all my gear, actually, except for one piece. I haven't got my Carolina rig done yet, but that's on the short list of things I have to do sooner rather than later. Are you going to be doing those again?
Yes. We've just since COVID hit, it's just been crazy. I had to take a little break, go up to Indiana, help out with a brother-in-law who'd had a stroke. That turned into about a 7-month break, and we were still doing them, but not as fast, not as heavy. So that's over. Now we're in the midst of finding a new place to live, and we've kind of somewhat relocated to Utah and Montana, and so here shortly, we're hoping to be able to settle down and get back out there as big and bad as we were 12 months ago.
I know you guys will. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one of my favorite things about this so far. Has definitely been, with us talking back and forth and all the things I've learned about your business. It's like, okay, somebody had commented. I know that they had seen. I think they saw part of the return envelope in my picture. And they're like, "What's this? Utah? What? Who's making rigs in Utah?" So it was kind of like, "Hey, no, hold on. He was from down here, and now he's up there.
Yep.
It's all good. It's all good."
Yeah. Company was born and grew up over in Mobile, and then, like I said, got it and it flourished over in Fairhope, and so we've got that Southern blood in us. Maybe not by birth, but by what do you want to say, faith, or it's in there.
There you go. Hey, something always has got to drive it, right? That's the good stuff. So with popping corks, I have found them to be. They're interesting. I've never fished with a popping cork until I got yours, and it is a really. How do I say this better? You got to really know how to use it. I am absolutely, I've jacked it up so many times. And then I finally kind of dug into a few videos on other things. I looked at online things. I know we talked about it. You kind of gave me some tips on it, and it really helped me get it. Why do you think that popping corks or popping corks, I apologize, are so useful?
Well, I think the main thing is, when you use them correctly, you're going to take and make it sound like, shrimp are down there just clicking away. And that's the importance of the beads. We don't use lead with ours. Ours are, we'll just keep it secret. But anyone knows anything about it. Yeah. But it's non-lead. And we've done some testing with them. And one of these days I need to release my video. I just need to find my GoPro. All this moving, it's packed, but it really sounds like if you've ever been out on the water at night and heard the shrimp popping, that's what it sounds like. So when you throw it out there in the water, as soon as it hits, you want to just snap it a couple times to make that predatory slash through the water, like it's going after the shrimp. And then every I like about a minute, I'll pop it, give it 2-3 good pops, and those beads will just click, 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 and it drives that predatory instinct from whether you're fishing trout, redfish, flounder, whatever. It'll just bring that to forehead, or
right. It'll
bring them in.
Right. Okay.
And then you just got to take and, know what you're fishing for and tailor it to that. Anything from live bait to shrimp, cut shrimp, especially if you're on the surf and it's, you got a flat water there. You can use them out there and put your cut crab or live crab or your sand fleas.
Nice. So that's some of the bait you recommend, and it really also kind of depends on how you're targeting. So like for the surf flat days, like you were saying, sand fleas, that's going to kind of play it around a little bit. So you can really go after the reds with the sound and that one. It's gonna really bring them in. And then inshore, pretty much the same game too, but understand your depths. You don't want to be trying to use a popping cork in 30 feet of water because you're not going to get it down there. You're talking, and you don't want it in 2 feet of water, or like 6 inches of water, because it's not going to drag the right way, and it's going to be like, hey, what? Well, you think I'm going to just fall for that? So fish is going to kind of outsmart you there. So it makes sense. Okay, so some shrimps.
Generally like to have about a 12 to 18 inch leader on it.
Okay.
And it depends on your line preference. A lot of folks like to use the fluorocarbon. I've done both, and I think I've caught just as many on either.
Okay.
So
cool. Yeah, that's good stuff.
Depending on the other thing too, I'd say is what you're fishing with. I mean, if because we got 3, 4, and 5 inch corks, So
Right.
if I'm using a 5-inch cork, I'm usually using, a palm-sized croaker or some other bait fish underneath that. Or if I'm using them shrimp, I'm usually going with a 3 or a 4-inch cork.
Right. That oval, a lot of the oval one is at 3 and 4, and then you have the cone one that's longer. Is that correct?
Well, we've got 3, 4, and 5 in the cone,
Oh,
and
that's
then the
right. Okay.
oval is 2-inch.
Right. All right. So, I mean, right there, that's huge information that, I mean, a lot of people might not have thought of, like, oh, hey, here's a cork. Those other
Mm,
pieces, that all kind of plays in together of how you want to use it.
right.
Okay, great. So,
You don't see a lot of 5-inch corks in stores. A lot of theirs are more the 3 or 4-inch.
right. Okay. So, in the pattern you said, basically, like a double pop or pull it back, get the click, let it run a little
Yeah,
bit, nice and easy, slow retrieve. And you're not turboing this thing in here. You're just, getting the click, letting it sit, getting the click, letting it sit, and just kind of slow acting. But it's also, would you
correct.
say, kind of just feel how the pattern is, change it up a couple times. It's not a one trick pony sort of bait system. Or,
Mm, right. Right. Exactly. So sometimes, I might just go one click, and most of the time I'll throw it out there. As soon as it hits, I'll give it about 3 good clicks, let it set for a minute, and then I'll go pop, 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 pop. Just like you said, you got to change it up, see what works in that area. Sometimes you need 3 pops, sometimes you just need one.
man,
I've had once probably the biggest red I ever caught. I didn't even have to pop it; it dropped straight into its mouth.
oh wow. Aren't those the best? I mean, you just get the cast, and before you can even get set, you're already on. You're like, oh, this is great. This isn't fishing. This is
Yes,
catching.
yeah, especially when you're on a pier and everyone's like, "How do you do that?"
Oh
It's
man.
professional.
Oh, I can imagine on that. So with a pier, I mean, you raise a great point there. With piers, you can still play with popping corks.
Yes,
Eh,
yes, I fished a lot at the Fairhope Pier using corks
okay.
because it's only running about 6 to 8, 10 feet in that area.
Right. Okay. Well, that's pretty smart. I mean, I might have to do that once I start actually getting back out to the pier because here in Navarre too, the water, you walk out, you're going to get up to waist deep and then you're going to hit the first trough and then it's going to kind of level back out again until you get to the second one. And then you're going to get up to about shoulder. But it's
Yeah,
still not crazy deep until you get, a couple 100 yards out. So, man, I
yeah.
might have to try that. I feel like I feel like I shortchanged myself here on the pier. So you also make Pompano rigs, double drop and triple drop variety. And
Yep.
it's funny, I pulled them out with a buddy of mine when I was fishing, and I was like, "Hey, do you see my new rigs?" And he's like, "What are you talking about, new rigs?" I was like, "Yeah, take a look, take a look." And he's like, "Are these skulls?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's just like, "Okay, I need to get these." And people are, a couple of people are like, well, "Why would you do that?" I'm like, "Why not? I mean, they're cool." But on the same one, you have it set up so smartly with a lot of these with your other ones, like the color schematics, like the orange and yellow. That one to me was really cool. You got the painted hook, you got the skull at the top, but in between, you've also got the orange bead on the orange side of the float, and then the yellow. So it's like you're doubling up, and
Yes.
I love that. Any reason in particular why you choose to use both a float and a bead on the setups?
Well, the float, that's kind of standard. Trying to make sure you kind of keep it off the very bottom.
Right.
And the beads, basically, they kind of serve 2 purposes. One is you don't have that hook and that cork coming back on your knots and stuff because, I mean, they're going to tear up pretty easy. So with that cork there, it's going to save those corks. They're going to last a little bit longer. And then if you look at the beads that we use, they're multifaceted
Yeah, I
or
like that.
faceted, how do you pronounce it? And we like that because, when sunlight comes in, hits the water, it's just like using, something chartreuse or something gold or something silver. That sun's going to hit that multifaceted bead, and it's just going to reflect that sun in all different directions, which, you're kind of wanting to catch that fish's eye.
Right.
And so that's the purpose behind that is to, mainly give some flash to it.
Okay.
And then by the time it comes and inspects that, hopefully it's going to find that chunk of meat or sand flea or whatever you're putting on the end.
I never even thought about it like that. For that, all the little spectrums in there, it's going to reflect the light and refract it in different ways. That's really smart. I
Yes.
like that.
Yeah.
Well, I see. I mean, you got the green, you've got the white, you got the pink and the white, you got the green and yellow. It looks like here, I mean, you got a whole bunch of different sets. So these rigs are great. Now, one of the things that we were talking pre-show here, but it kind of makes sense. You use 40-pound fluorocarbon for your rigs, right?
We use the not the fluorocarbon. Well, the rigs. Yeah. Let me back up here. So actually, yeah, that's the only ones we got the line on. We use it's not fluorocarbon, but it is the Berkeley Trilene big game fishing line.
Oh, okay, all right. So but it's the 40-pound variety.
It is 40 pounds.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's funny.
And
go ahead.
I was going to say we like the there's everyone has their own preferences, and I just like the 40-pound because it lasts.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing about surf fishing, you're never going to know what you got on the end until you get it to the shore.
Right.
And I've had everything from a shark to a redfish, black drum, croaker, all that. When I'm out fishing for pompano,
Right.
or if I'm out trying to fish for red, you're going to get pompano on it. You just never know. So it works for everything. I don't have to worry about teeth too much because being 40-pound, it's going to take a little more teeth to go through it than it will. Like I said, I reeled in about a 3-foot shark one afternoon, and I got him all the way to shore with no problem.
Man, that's always a good, like, hope when you see that fin and you're like, oh, don't you chew through it, don't you do it, come here. All right, so yeah, I personally tie my rigs whenever I'm doing my dropper rigs. I always tie mine with 30-pound. I'm using fluoro. I'm using Cast King Covert 30-pound. I like it, but the reason I moved up for mine was I was snapping sinkers.
Yes.
I know I have a heavy cast. I'm very torquey. That's just my cast style. I've accepted it, but I've modified my gear to it. When I launched yours, I loved it because I remember feeling, I'm like, oh, this is thick. And then I saw the number. I was like, what is this? 40-pound? Oh, this is going to be great. And I mean, I knew I could throw a 5-ounce Sputnik on there and just let her rip. And I did several times. So, and it has held up wonderfully each time, especially with a couple of fish I've caught on it. It's definitely nailed a couple of whiting for me on the close rigs. That seems to be where we're at right now. I've had to go short with with this current season, and this thing is just a whiting slayer. It's been awesome. I'm not sad even a little bit. So I'm looking forward to the Pompano run coming up soon because, oh man, I have a feeling that these rigs are just going to really just clean house and do some slaying, and I'm super pumped because also with that Pomp run, the reds start coming back real thick here soon. So it's about to get good.
And I've actually been looking at my photos from down there, and my last trip before I left Alabama was a Pompano trip, and I just see those fillet pompano on my grill.
Oh man, they're so good, aren't they?
Oh yeah.
It's before I even lived here. It's funny, I never even knew what a pompano was until I started learning about surf fishing, and all of a sudden everybody's like, "Oh, the pompano, it's the coveted fish." I'm like, I don't get it. Why do you guys care so much about a pompano? It's like, then I finally caught one that was a keeper. And it was funny because Tony from Fish Gum, Tony Fagioni, just happened to be fishing right down the beach from me. And he was there when I caught my first pompano. Like, I was so pumped, I didn't know what to do. And he de-hooked it for me and measured it. He's like, it's a keeper. And I'm like, I don't know what to do with my hands. I was really, really just stupid excited. But then I had it, and I was like, holy crap, man, is this fish sweet? Did I put sweetener on it? It's such a great flavor.
Oh, it is. And I'm the same way. I mean, I lived a total of probably 10 years from first 3 years I was stationed there. Then I came back, moved to Salt Lake, came back, moved back to Utah. And it wasn't until that last time I was there 3 years, and it wasn't until the last year I was there that I finally learned about pompano. I mean, you hear about it here and there, but man, once I actually went down and fished for pompano, I went crazy. I mean, it was, like you said, the taste is just above everything. I used to be nothing but mahi when I ate fish.
Oh,
and
wow,
now it's
okay.
like, I would swap pompano over mahi any day.
And it's really funny too when you start talking to people that they don't get to fish like we do. They don't get to. They just don't have the abundance like we do when we're down here and we're fishing. It's like a red drum, very tasty fish.
Yeah.
But it's not my favorite. Great to fight, really taste. It is tasty. You can really manipulate a pompano. I mean, you can do so many different things with pompano that it's like, all right, you can blacken it, grill it, broil it. You can go down the whole Bubba Gump shrimp action here. Deep fried. You can go nuts. But
I even one of my favorites was an Italian dish that I took from a redfish recipe, and basically you just layered the bottom with tomatoes and peppers, and then put your fish in there.
Oh, yeah.
Layered it again, threw some capers in there. Oh my gosh,
man, capers are a little sleeper when it comes to fish.
Yes.
It is amazing how good those little things, you just heat them up and they can do some great things to fish. That is a true story right there.
I was surprised. I mean, I had only ever ate them or put them in, what's the white noodle with the white sauce and chicken?
Alfredo?
Alfredo. That's the only time I had ever had capers until I had to redfish with that recipe.
Wow.
And now putting it in pompano, and I need to try it on mahi.
See, you say mahi, and the first thing that always comes to my mind is the what is it? That mango salsa. It's like you got to make mango salsa with mahi. It's like a sacrilege not to or something. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll go get mangoes. That's good stuff. So, one of the things that I've been doing with this podcast is very heavily aiming at teaching people one thing about something you've learned while fishing that you would wish you could pass on to somebody. Because with these days of getting out there and people coming down here to the Panhandle, or to the Outer Banks, we're going to eventually do some stuff there, is, okay, well, if I learned this on this episode, man, I should go back to that. What's something that you would want people to know is like a trick that you'd be willing to share with the community?
I would say probably using a surf rig, / pompano rig.
Okay.
Because, like I said, you can catch so much fish on that. It's just unreal. And, you throw a chunk of shrimp on there, and you just kind of open it up for redfish, black drum, whiting, pompano, and it's just probably one of the most versatile and easiest ways to fish there is.
Nice.
Because if you're just wanting to sit there and, have a nice cold beverage while you fish, you can use it. If you're wanting to wade fish and get out there, like you said, up to your neck or up to your waist, tossing it out there as far as you can do that. If you want to just throw it out there and let your kid play with the weight on the end of it, chances of them catching a decent fish off the beach is pretty good. Yeah. So, like in Indiana, first thing everyone learns to fish with is a bobber. And
I think it's like national. It's like a requirement or a rite of passage.
Yeah. So, when you're at the surf, you might as well use some sort of a surf rig. And, a lot of them aren't as elaborate as ours, it doesn't take that much. Just, minimum you need a good size weight, a loop to put a hook on, and toss it. And again, you never know what you're going to catch out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Something nice about throwing that line out there going, yeah, what are you targeting? Fish?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, you're trying to target.
Whatever bites.
This double drop's going to kind of give me red drum, black drum. I mean, I've actually caught bonnethead sharks on a couple of my Pompano rigs, which is, that was an interesting day. But hey, I mean, if it works, it works. I'm not going to change it. That's for sure.
Exactly.
All right. Thanks so much. So, everybody, you can find Rippin Reaper Fishing at Facebook. It's at Rippin, Rippin, Reaper Fishing Gear. His webpage is rippinreaperfishing.com. To contact on Instagram, it's Rippin Reaper Fishing 4. And then to email, to get in touch with Tony on this, it's rippinreaperfishing@gmail.com. I know that Tony is actually very responsive to emails. He was very quick to respond to all mine, which, out of the blue, hey, hi, I'm this guy, and I won something. I don't think it was not even 30 minutes, and I got a response. I was like, oh, he's in front of his computer. This is going to be great.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you.
I got my.
Oh, go ahead.
You're welcome. I say my son helps, so between the two of us, we get it done as quick as we can.
Well, you guys are doing great things, and I'm glad to hear,
Thank you.
even with the move, you're still going to be rocking gear and still being able to send this stuff out because I think you got a great product. Yeah, I
Thank
love it. You're also in a few tackle shops, is that correct?
Yes. You can find us over in Fairhope at Southern or Fisherman's Discount off of 98. Southern Bama Bait and Tackle over in Mobile off of Dolphin Island Parkway. Golf Breeze Bait and Tackle. And we're working on a couple more.
Oh, yeah. I love it. I love it. We're going to see more of them, man. It's always good stuff right there. Well, Tony,
And
go ahead.
if you don't mind me giving a shout out,
No,
man.
shout it out,
Now,
man.
we do offer gift certificates for anybody that can get us in a tackle store. So generally, if we get $100 sale, we give you a 25% coupon
Nice.
to buy stuff through our store.
Ah, there you go, people. You got some incentive right there. You start asking, like, hey, you ever heard of this? I need it. I need it where we're at.
Yeah. I can't fish without it.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely. Well, Tony, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, man. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've always enjoyed talking to you when I can. And I also love seeing your pictures when I see them get posted up online. Like, oh, yeah, he's out there having fun. That's for sure. All right. Well, until next time, sir, we will definitely catch up.
Thank you, Brian. Thanks for inviting us to come and talk with you.
Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for sticking around with us today on the show. Thanks for coming and hearing about all this about Rippin Reaper Fishing. And thanks for just being a part of this awesome community. Thanks for sticking around and listening to Finding Demo Surf Fishing. We will see you all next time out on the beach.